Hello everybody, my name is Kimchi, and today we're going to be talking about the potential rosters for the CDL Black Ops 7 season. Starting things off, by the way, before we get things going, I'm using CDLrosterbuilder.com, a fantastic website. If you want to go ahead and build your own roster, you can absolutely do that. We're going to start things off with the Miami Heretics. Now, this team I think is still going to be fantastic. I always liked Heretics. They're my favorite team, not just because they're representing my city of birth, but also because of the fact that I just really like this squad. This is a fun squad, full of passion, an extremely talented roster. Rancor and Super, we know what they're going to do. We know what they're capable of. Great AR players. They do lose Real, which is kind of unfortunate. That was a big player for them. In his place is going to be Trakes. And looking into Trakes, of course, looking at his COD Esports wiki page, you do see that he was absolutely dominant in LATAM challengers. Like, this guy won everything there. And yeah, maybe LATAM is not the most competitive region of COD, but that still showed that he had a lot of potential if he were to move to a different or just a more competitive region in general, which is exactly what he did when he moved to NA. His line performances are honestly pretty good. You can easily tell that this guy was going to be a very talented player in challengers, but Heretics decided, you know what, we like this guy, we're going to put him into our team in place of Real. And honestly, I do like this pickup. I think that Trakes is coming into a really good system here with Heretics. I think he has really good teammates on his side. He has really good coaches. I think Trakes has a lot of potential to be another Rookie of the Year for Miami, so very excited to see what he's going to do. Next, we're talking about Optic Texas, and honestly, I'm not going to stick around for this one because, like, everyone's already said everything that needs to be said about this roster, right? This is the top roster heading into Black Ops 7. They won champs, they won EWC, they haven't made a roster, they're not making a roster change. They're the only team in the league not making a roster change, so they're coming into this full chemistry, full hype, full motivation, everything, right? This team has everything in their favor for this season, right? At least the start of this season. I don't know what it's going to look like for them heading into the later half when, you know, these teams are probably going to have more of an idea of how they need to play and just better chemistry overall. But this team is definitely going to be the team to be heading into the Black Ops 7 season. I mean, hands down. I'm very excited to see how Mercules is going to play on his second competitive year. This guy, you know, he has the world in his hands. He has the ability to just completely take over this league. So very excited to see what he does. And yeah, just again, not much that hasn't been said already. This is just like the best team heading into Black Ops 7, like hands down. So moving on here, we have LA Thieves, which this is a crazy picture here for Scrap. But LA Thieves, honestly, I think out of all the rosters, this is the best roster, right? Like, this is the team I think that is going into the Black Ops 7 season with the best team overall. I mean, Scrap and Hydra already being on this team like puts them at a high level, but then you add in Kenny and Abizi, right? And here's the thing about LA Thieves, you know, last year they had a pretty damn good year, like all things considered. They didn't, like, yeah, end of the year was kind of shit for them, especially in champs and EWC, but through it all, like, they had a fantastic year, right? They took the #1 spot from FaZe, but clearly I think what this team kind of wanted to do was just add in some like more veteran presence, because Ghosty and Envoy were really good players on their own, right? Understandably speaking, when Kenny and Abizi are out and available, you don't want to pass on that, right? Like, being realistic here. Kenny's kind of coming off of a bit of a bad year in the league this season. Of course, this is going to be a bit of a redemption year for him, especially with him being with such high caliber players. He should be able to come back into his form, and even if he doesn't really, like, does that really matter? Because, you know, Scrap, Hydra, and Abizi are such talented players that they could just make this team a top team even if Kenny isn't playing like all the way, right? Like, so I have a lot of, like, this team in my opinion is going to be the most competitive team against Optic for sure, maybe even winning the first major, right? Like, this team is just hands down very, very good. I just really like the way it looks. I'm very interested to see this Hydra Abizi SMG duo, because I mean, and this goes for like the other members of the FaZe trio. This is going to be their first time playing separately from each other, playing against each other. Going to really come into question like how they're going to play with their new teammates, how they're going to play with their new duos, how things are going to go. So like, this is going to be an interesting duo to watch. This team screams to me that they're going to just run at you, no fear, no hesitation. They're just gonna like go all out ballistic, and very excited to see what they're capable of doing. But I think Thieves, I think this is a more true super team than what they had like last year. I think that this is a much more super team, right? If that makes any sense. So either way, moving on, we have FaZe Vegas, which is definitely the most controversial roster in the entire list here, man. A lot of people aren't a fan of this roster. They're not a fan of the new name. They're not a fan of the color. They're not a fan of the logo. This, like, FaZe is getting fucking hammered down by the community. Like, no one likes anything about this team. But here's the thing, though, right? First of all, I can kind of understand, like, the whole, like, you know, color scheme and name stuff. Like, I understand maybe people are mad about that. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to just talk about the roster at hand. This is a good roster. I don't know where people are coming at saying this roster is dog shit. This is a good roster. Can Abuza and 04 fill in the shoes that Selim and Abizi left? Probably not, being realistic here, right? But they definitely are going to provide a lot for this team. They're probably going to be damn close to filling those shoes. I think that these two players are fantastic together. I mean, they've proven themselves heavily last season. In Surge, these guys are easily top tier players, hands down. I like Abuza. Abuza was one of my favorite ARs to watch last season. He's not only like the type of AR who's like more reserved, held back, focuses on holding the hill, focuses on the spawns, but he also knows when to flip that switch and start becoming that aggressive AR that like just gets in people's faces and just doesn't give a fuck. That's the type of player that I think Abuza is, and the type of player that fits perfectly with this team, especially alongside Draza. I think that Abuza and Draza, I think, are going to be a really good AR duo this year, so very excited to see what they do. And then, of course, with Simp and 04, I know a lot of people really wanted to see Neptune instead of 04, which I can understand. But I think 04, the way I view 04 as a player is I view him similar to how I view Kismet, and that he is an enabler SMG, right? He is the type of SMG player where he pretty much tells his duo, you go have fun, you will get the kills, get the highlight plays, be a nuisance, let me just do all the other stuff, right? Let me play the OBJ, let me pick up the trades, let me just do all the stuff that doesn't allow me to have like the best KD or the best plays or the highlight plays. That's the type of player I see 04 as. And I think that, you know, when you pair a player like that with a high slaying, high caliber SMG player like Simp, that player, Simp, is going to be doing so much good, right? He is going to be phenomenal. And we already know what Simp can do on the map. So I think that what 04 is going to do is he's going to make Simp pretty much continue to play at the level we know he can be. And, you know, yeah, maybe 04 is not going to have the prettiest stats, but at the end of the day, we know he's good at S&D. We know he's good when it comes to being that more supportive player. And I think that he's a great pairing for Simp. I think that this team overall, like, is a good team. Like, I think that maybe there's going to be some growing pains for sure, but I think that this squad should still do relatively good for themselves. I could see the squad still continuing to make Sundays consistently. I could see the squad even winning a major. So overall, like, I still like this team. I think that people are just a little too crazy and like are getting a little too insane about the roster change, and they're just like they're just kind of over exaggerating, right? Like, they're just getting a little too crazy. I think FaZe Vegas still going to be a top team, still going to be good. You guys just need to chill out. So moving on to our next squad, it's going to be the Toronto Ultra or Toronto Koi, consisting of Insight, Kleenex, Joe DeCease, and Real. A lot of people probably thought Insight was going to not be on this roster anymore. I honestly thought the same too, but really thinking about it, like, you know, he didn't have as bad of a year as people said he does, right? Like realistically, I think in comparison to like Kenny and Skies and how bad their years went, like, Insight wasn't terrible. Was he like not as good as he used to be? Yeah, of course, you know, but you could say the same thing for a lot of like top tier players this year, right? Who had a really good season in MW3 and then just kind of shit the bed in Black Ops 6, right? And honestly, Insight he's been such a crucial player for Ultra ever since he came into Cold War. Like, I mean, you guys got to remember, before Insight became the essential key to Ultra, team was just a mid-tier squad. Like, no one really took Ultra, no one viewed Ultra as like an actual competitive squad. Insight comes into this team and he immediately makes the squad like a top echelon team. Like, and even though he may not have had the best year, he's still a very crucial player, and I think that he's still going to continue to be a crucial player for Ultra for a long time, right? And then Kleenex coming in as the flex. We saw him play the flex role in EWC, and he did not do a bad job at all. He did pretty damn good, if you ask me. So I think that this Insight Kleenex AR duo going to be really good because we know what both of these players are capable of doing. Joe DeCease coming off of a fantastic year, man. I mean, completely turned his image around in the scene. He went from being like a kind of player to like, this guy is a top level talent, right? Like Joe Deceives, fantastic year, and now he's paired up with Real, who also had a pretty damn good year in Black Ops 6, right? So I think that these two are going to pair really well together, honestly, and I think really what I'm more excited about is the potential storylines we have with Ultra and Heretics. Like, shit talk is going to be insane. It's going to be very exciting to see what happens, but like, we know damn well that these two teams are going to probably have it out for each other. So I'm very excited to see that. I think this team is good overall. Like, I think that Ultra is still going to consistently be a top team, and Real is going to do great with this roster. I think Joe Deceives is still going to do great things. And yeah, overall, like, this is still a top tier talent team, like 100%. Moving on, we have the Riyadh Falcons, and this is definitely an incredibly weird roster to look at because you have Celium, who obviously we know, like, Selim's like a top tier talent. He has consistently been at the top of the league every single year, right? And now he's playing for this kind of like middle of the pack roster alongside Kismet, Exnid, and Pred. I know a lot of people wanted Exnid to kind of be gone from this roster just because of the amount of talent in the free agent pool at the time. Like, there's just so many players, like, why keep Exnid? Like, he's a good player. He should be in the league, but like, at the same time, like, why, you know, there's so many other high caliber talents that like are just better than Exnid, right? Like, being realistic here. But I also respect Exnid still sticking around because I think that this Exnid Pred duo is honestly like gonna be a fun duo to watch. Exnid has a lot of potential, and I think that now that he has like world champion players teaming alongside him, I think he's gonna improve immensely as a player. Definitely be the player to watch for this team. And then, of course, I think that Kismet being a flex is definitely going to be an interesting move because, you know, we have always known Kismet as like the SMG player. So him switching to this AR role is going to be interesting, to say the least. I don't think he'll be terrible at it. I think, you know, I think he can do good for himself, but we'll have to definitely see how it ends up going. And then Pred, I think Pred, like I said, I think this Pred Exnid duo is going to be good. I'm really excited to see like the energy that these two bring off for this team. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I think what makes this team like not horrible really is just Celium, to be honest with you, because I think if you were to put Kismet as the flex with another AR, like, it probably wouldn't be as good. Like, I think this team would still probably be near the bottom of the league, but you know, I think Celium kind of saves them a bit just because like Celium being in a top 12 team just does not sound right to me at all. This is an interesting squad. Do I expect them to make it to Sundays? Do I expect them to win a major? Probably not, but there's potential, right? I think there's upset potential for this roster. This shouldn't be like a completely dog shit roster, but it's gonna be weird. We'll have to see, man. I mean, I don't know. Like, Kismet as a flex sounds weird to me, but you know, hey, I guess we'll just have to see how it goes, right? But moving along, we have Vancouver Surge. Now, Surge are doing a bit of an interesting thing here as they're looking to pick up Legend from Halo, Optic Halo. I think that for the most part, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, why is he getting a roster spot? Like, this guy has to prove himself. Look, Halo players have always had a good track record when it comes to competitive COD. Like, I doubt Legend is going to come into the league and just be complete dog shit, right? Like, I don't think that's the case. I think Legend's going to do good for himself. I think Halo players in general, like, when they hop into competitive COD, tend to always be able to be top tier talent. So I also respect the Abe pickup. I think Abe definitely deserved to be on a roster. I mean, he brought Ultra to a top 3 finish at EWC, which, I mean, like, that's kind of exactly what Mercules did for Ultra when he had to substitute. I mean, like, and in this case, this was a much bigger event, so for Abe to have a top 3 finish in EWC for Ultra definitely showcased his talent and like what he was capable of doing. So I really do respect the A pickup. Gwyn is also like a solid SMG player. I think that if you kind of needed like an SMG player and you didn't really know who exactly you wanted, I think Gwyn is a safe pickup. I think he can provide a decent amount for the squad. I think Gwyn should still be a reliable SMG player, so I don't have a problem with him being picked up. Now, the main question I have is Lunars, right? Like, I have nothing against Lunars, but the man had a pretty bad rookie season, I'm not gonna lie, right? Like, I mean, you could say like, oh, well, you know, he had potential, right? He has potential, he could, you know, he could be better. And like, I agree, but like at the same time though, like, I don't know how I feel about Lunars getting a roster spot here. Maybe he just needs a new team. Maybe he just needs to like play with new players. I mean, if I remember correctly, like Lunars wasn't really playing the role he was comfortable with on Gorillas, so I can kind of understand maybe like now that he's playing, I guess, a more fitting role, he'll probably do better, which is likely, but I don't know, like this is kind of a weird pickup for me. I guess in a way this is going to be a big redemption year for Lunars, seeing how like he just wasn't very impressive in Gorillas at all, so we'll have to see. Very interesting pickup for sure, but I guess we'll have to see how this goes. Next roster is Boston Breach, and pretty much they're mostly sticking with the same players, but instead of Awakening, it's going to be Nasty, which is a pretty damn big upgrade if you ask me. I mean, this Boston Breach roster, like honestly, if they had any other player, they probably would have been a top 12 roster for me, but I think with Nasty here, like this is a roster that I think could still be top 8 around that area. I think really the biggest problem for Breach last year was just being incredibly inconsistent. I mean, I think really it all came down to the ARs, because Cammy and Awakening as the ARs for Boston Breach were just not very impressive. I mean, Cammy had some pretty decent plays here and there, of course there was that infamous like 1v5 he had on Control. There was potential for Cammy, but I think what really made that roster capable of staying around like the top 8 range was definitely Snoopy and Purge. I think Purge as a player has evolved immensely. Like he went from being like kind of a meh SMG to like this guy is able to compete alongside Snoopy. Like you can argue that Purge is a better SMG than Snoopy, and like I would honestly be like stumped. Like he has improved immensely as an SMG player, and I mean Snoopy is already super good, a super good SMG himself, so these two really brought Breach up to a higher level. And now that Nasty is here, I think that the talent for the squad has improved, and I think that there's still going to be a dark horse squad, honestly, but I think that this team should still do good. I kind of feel bad for Nasty because I think he just deserves to be on a better squad overall. I think for Breach, this is a good thing. I think this is going to be a big upgrade for Breach, and it's going to keep them competitive. Next team we're talking about is the Royal Ravens, and hello everyone, Editor Kimchi here. Just wanted to come in and say that we actually do have an official rumored roster for the Carolina Royal Ravens, that being Slasher, Geo, Craze, and Lurks. And honestly, I still kind of feel the same way about this team. I mean, like, there's potential for sure, but the problem really is that, like, I don't know how this team's gonna work well together. Like, here's the thing, on paper this squad shouldn't do bad for themselves, but the problem is that, like, with all of the league having like this incredible talent in their squads, I just don't feel like as confident with Ravens. Obviously Slasher's still in the league because of just his like status as a pro and like what his name carries, but I mean, to be honest, like I don't know how I feel about Slasher still being in the league. Geo is like, he has potential. He's a good player. I like him, but like at the same time, he also is a fairly inconsistent player as well. And I feel like really the shining stars for this squad are for sure going to be the SMGs. I mean, you pick up Craze, and I mean, I think that's an incredible pickup if you're on the side of Ravens for sure. And I think Lurks can definitely bring a lot to the table here for sure. I think he has a great SMG duo, so I think as long as he can just hold his own weight, he can still be very good for his team. And overall, like, I think this squad, it could be good. Like, I mean, I just don't see them really breaking out of the top 12 just because of the fact that, like, all these other teams are just so good. And it just would kind of be, like, really hard to see this specific squad do well in just how competitive the landscape is looking like for this season. So, like, overall, I feel like this is almost like a Boston Breach situation where, like, you have two really good SMG players and two, like, meh ARs. But, you know, well, let's hope that that's not the case, honestly. But we'll have to see. This is a squad that I want to see do well, but I don't know, man. Like, I just don't have, like, as much confidence in them in comparison to certain other teams. So, yeah, we're going to talk about it later on, but that's basically how I view Carolina Royal Ravens. And move on to the rocker, which consists of Skies, Mamba, Kremp, and Estriel. Yeah, this roster's weird, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think Mamba is a great pickup. This is kind of going to be a redemption year for Skies as well. The guy did not have a very good year in Black Ops 6. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird roster. I'm not too confident in them, unfortunately. As much as I really like Mamba as a player. I'm not too confident in this squad and what they can do. So, you know, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Like all 4 of these players are incredibly talented players. There's no doubt about it. But the composition, man, the way this team looks, I don't get the vibe of like this team's gonna win. This team's gonna do much. Like, I don't know. This squad, like, can be competitive somewhat, but like they're not going to break the top 12 threshold if you ask me. So unfortunate as it is, that's just how I view Rocker right now. Kind of the same thing how I view Cloud9, right? So Cloud9 consists of Beans, Vivid, Afro, and Mac. You know, Vivid and Mac kind of had a pretty good end of the year for Black Ops 6 playing in challengers, so it's kind of understandable that they would get picked up. Afro also had a pretty good year in challengers, was one of the best individual players in EU, so again, makes sense. And then you got Beans, and I think Beans is an all-around really good AR player, deserves to be in the league for sure. Overall, I mean, again, I don't expect much from this team. Mac did kind of look like he was getting back into form in the end of the season, so I'm a bit more confident in like Mac's performance overall. So, you know, I think he shouldn't be bad. Afro, we'll have to see. I mean, he did pretty good in EU, but obviously we'll have to see if he can keep that up heading into the league. Vivid has always been an interesting player for me, because in my mind, Vivid, he's just been all over the place, right? Like, he hasn't really found his spot in the league, right? Like, he's just been in so many teams. This is like his 7th team he's been on. Like, Vivid, I mean, like, I don't think Vivid's a terrible player. I think he generally, like, I think he can provide a decent amount for the team, but I don't know, like, he just hasn't really found his rhythm in the league. Every team he's been on, he usually just ends up either getting dropped or just, like, kind of just being there. And then, of course, again, Beans, fantastic AR. I really like Beans. I think that he definitely deserves to be in the league, but at the same time, it's just there's so much talent that it's just hard for Beans to be on a good team. So we'll have to see how things go here. Again, I don't view Cloud9 as a top-tier roster at all, but we'll have to see. That's all I can really say for some of these rosters. We'll just have to see. And ending things off, we have the Gentlemates roster here. And let me tell you, this is like a night and day difference between what they had last year to what they have now. Ghosty, Sib, Neptune, Envoy. I mean, these are some fantastic high caliber players. Neptune came off of a very, very good year with Surge. Ghosty and Envoy came off of a fantastic year with LA Thieves. And then Sib, he had a pretty bad year with Cloud9. So he's, again, also looking to redeem himself. But this is some high caliber talent here, man. I mean, you just got so many top tier players. It's just, there's so much going for this roster. I think Gentlemates are looking to really turn around their time in the CDL with this team. I'm looking forward to this Neptune and Envoy SMG duo. I think really the one concern overall that I think a lot of people might have with this team is overall how the chemistry is going to work, how all 4 of these players are going to pair up with each other, because really I think that's what's going to make or break this team, right? If this team pairs up well with each other, this team is going to be easily like making Sundays, winning majors. I can see like this team easily can be like a top squad, right? If it doesn't work out, I think that like this team probably just ends up in the middle of the pack, like, and it sucks because all 4 of these players are incredibly talented, like, individual players. You know, we all know what all 4 of them can bring to the table, but it really all comes down to what the synergy is going to look like, and if this team can synergize well, they easily are going to be like a top 4 team. So that's pretty much all the rosters we have so far. Of course, we're getting closer to seeing them get confirmed as Black Ops 7 is closer to its release date. So most likely with some of these rosters, this is pretty much what we're going to be looking at. We're just going to go ahead and start with the rankings here. All right, so this is my little tier list here of all the players and all the teams so far heading into the Black Ops 7 season. As I had mentioned in the beginning, Optic Texas, easily the top team heading into Black Ops 7. They shouldn't be placed anywhere besides S tier. I don't think any other team really should be on their level, just because they're all making changes, so we all really don't know how they're gonna work out at the end of the day. But Optic, hands down, the team to beat. They're going to be really good. They're not making a change. So while all these teams are possibly going to be going through some growing pains, this team is just going to be focused on just getting really good at the game. So like they're going to be ahead of a lot of people. They're going to be ahead of pretty much all these teams essentially heading into Black Ops 7. So they deserve to be in S tier on their own. And then A tier, we have Thieves, Vegas, and Gentlemates. This is my top 4 range here. Again, the talent for all 4 of these teams is impeccable. Like easily like some high tier talent just spread apart on all 3 of these teams. I can easily see any of these teams winning a major. I can see all of these teams making it to a Sunday multiple times. Like hands down, incredibly talented squads, high caliber players, and these are the teams I see being like at the top of the league. I know people are probably going to give me shit for Vegas FaZe being here, but this guy, those guys are really good. I think they're easily a top 4 squad. I think they're easily making it to Sundays. If you say otherwise, then you're just coping. I'm sorry to say it. So moving on to our B tier, this is our top 6 range. And for the most part, I mean, Koi and Heretics, I think both of those teams could easily also be top 4 depending on how these other 3 teams do. They're very good teams on their own right. I just think that you have to have middle of the pack teams. And even though I think that both of these teams are still going to be very competitive and still going to put up very good fights against the other 3, I just think that they're probably not going to be doing as many impressive things. I could still see them going to Sundays. They could even potentially win a major if the stars aligned for them. But for the most part, I don't see them really. I see them probably struggling against the top teams, but maybe pulling some upsets, maybe getting some wins over them still. But this is kind of where I view them overall. And then for the next teams, this is the C tier. This is like my top 8 tier. Boston Breach. Again, I think Boston Breach is going to probably struggle for top 8 because, you know, again, the talent is just so spread out. But this team should still be able to make it to that top 8 range. I think that this squad here, if they had probably kept Awakening, they would probably be in the D tier. But with Nasty and with like how good Purge has become and how good Snoopy still is, like this squad should still relatively be top 8. I'm confident in them being top 8 for sure. Riyadh Falcons, again, I think that it would, I don't believe like with a team with Celium can be like a top 12 team. I don't think like if you have Celium in your squad, you're guaranteed like top 8 at least. I just think that it's still a bit of a Frankenstein team to me, like, you know, Kismet being on the flex, Xnid still being on the squad. There's like potential for dark horse performances from like both of these teams, but overall, like I just like, again, like it's gonna probably be like they're probably gonna make it to a Sunday maybe like once, maybe not even, or mostly just consistently place like top 6 at most majors. But that's kind of the most I expect these teams to do. And then for D tier, this is my top 12. These are the bottom 4 teams in my opinion. Most of these guys are practically just challengers teams that are just kind of in league spots, honestly. Surge, I'm looking at Abe, I'm looking at Legend. I think both of those guys could do good for this team, but I don't know how I feel about Lunars and Gwyn. Like, he's good, but like you kind of expect what you get from him. So like, you know, I don't think that this team is gonna be like doing the same stuff that Surge did last year, honestly. Ray was probably on this team as a coach still. I would be more confident in them breaking through the top 8, but honestly though, I don't see that happening. I think that Surge is trying to do the same thing they did last year, but with a different coach. And like I said, I don't have a problem with Atura, but I just don't think he can do what Ray did for Surge last year, right? So I think that like this, like there's definitely gonna be talent on this squad, but I just don't think that they're going to be consistently beating like all these other teams above them, right? Cloud9, this is my opinion, just a challengers roster being kind of put together, molded together. The scraps of all these other rosters, like that's essentially how I view Cloud9. They're not terrible, but like at the same time, like I don't see them making it out top 12. Like I said, like there's just so many other really good teams that just have better talent that I just don't really feel like Cloud9 is going to be doing anything impressive this year overall. Ravens, honestly, the Raven squad, like, we have no idea what they're realistically doing, so it just kind of makes sense to keep them in the D tier just because the roster that I had for them, like, they could potentially be good, but like I said, I don't think that that's going to break them out of top 12. If they even do go with this roster, they could just go with another entirely different roster, and likelihood is that they're still going to be a D tier roster just because they're, again, practically just picking up the scraps of all these other teams. This is kind of where I expect Ravens to be at. And then you have Rocker, and like I said, I think Rocker just has it's a weird composition. I mean, all of these players in the bottom tier are all individually talented players. It's just that it's either the composition, the chemistry, or just the fact that like their potential is lower than like all these other teams above them. So it's just like they just aren't going to be as competitive or be able to perform as well as they need to break out of the top 8. So that's kind of why they're stuck in the top 12 sector. Like Rocker, they have a weird composition. I just don't really believe that they're going to do anything crazy as a squad. Could they maybe do something interesting? Yeah, maybe, but realistically, I think all 4 of these teams are going to probably end up being like making changes like near the beginning of the year, or maybe not, who knows. It's just, again, like I just don't have as much confidence in any of these 4 teams as I do with the ones above them. So that's pretty much my ranking here for all of the teams in potentially that are going to be in the Black Ops 7 season. Overall, I think this is going to be a very fun, very competitive year of Call of Duty for sure. The talent is just so spread out, so many storylines, a lot to pay attention to, a lot to watch, and honestly, this is going to be a very fun year for COD. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You know, let me know what you think about my tier list. Again, if you want to kind of make your own rosters and want to just rank them yourselves, you can go ahead and check out CDLrosterbuilder.com. I'll leave a link in the description. And that's pretty much going to be it for me for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!